And I couldn't even scream at you for it because you were gone.
I died!
Yeah, and the rest of us had to live with it.
That scene right there tells you everything you need to know about Teela and the all-female Masters of the Universe, starring such stellar two-bit side characters as Dead Prince Adam, Dead Orko, Dead Mossman, and Disgraced Man-at-Arms. Literally the only positive aspect of this series is that it's mercifully short and ends with Skeletor winning. Man, everyone expected this Nonsflix massacre to be a god-awful show, but they have truly superseded all expectations with this macabre massacre of a TV series in a single episode. The first episode, mind you. Two of the most powerful heroes of Eternia, Mossman and He-Man, are swept aside with abject contempt. Mossman, which might actually be even more powerful than He-Man, dies like that. And a third Man-at-Arms is dismissed, disgraced, and threatened with execution for his failings. And the show's primary bad guy, Skeletor, is also shuffled unceremoniously off the scene. And why? Well, of course, it's so that we can be provided with the literal blueprint for how never to produce a show ever again. This is the template of everything that is wrong with the wokest entertainment. The setting, the characters, the story, everything is a distant secondary concern to forcing the author's own corrosive ideology into every single nook and cranny of the setting they're currently raping. And of course, it starts with killing off the main character. Because you see, the authors have much, much better characters for us. Oh, I know this is supposed to be He-Man, but you don't actually expect to see He-Man in 2021, do you? Of course not. So we're just going to fix him right like that. We are going to give him a worthy send-off, quote-unquote, as he sacrifices himself to save the entire universe, an act that he later gets yelled at for by the new protagonist, Teela, who embodies everything it means to be a strong female character in the mind of a wokist. In other words, she is an insufferable, know-it-all bitch.
I know everything there is to know about Battle, the Palace, Grayskull. I have laid my life on the line for every one of you, but you're all a pack of liars. And Adam was no different.
Whose primary character flaw is that she's too goddamn perfect. Oh, no. I'm not kidding. That is literally a plot point.
Now I see. Now I know what really frightens you. Most people fear being ordinary.
But you are just the opposite, pretending to be ordinary, when you know, deep down, you are so much more.
Haha, yes. The classical hero's journey, when our protagonist is deathly afraid of being special, of being too goddamn powerful and perfect. And if only they could face this fear, everything will work out just fine. Or at the very least, it'll work out just fine until another one of the male characters need to die, that is, after which all of that power is suspiciously absent. It will come as small surprise as well that this is Teela's character to a T. The greatest obstacle and problem that she's faced in the entirety of the series is that people lied to her.
Yes, it is, because I've had enough. Enough of your secrets and lies. Enough of magic and the monsters it makes. Enough of the royal palace. And enough of Castle Grayskull to last me a lifetime. I'm done looking out for the people who never told me the truth. He-Man is gone. Skeletor is gone. And now? So am I.
Oh no! They protected Prince Adam's secret that he is He-Man and therefore protected his life, the life of his family, the entire bloody country, the nation, etc. from Skeletor's constant predations. Why do superheroes have secret identities again? Never mind that nonsense. Teela feels she deserved to know. And that tremendous wrong is the sliver of justification required for our brave main character to abandon country, duty, family, and literally everything until she's eventually roped back into the plot again by obviously evil Lyn in disguise, whom Teela helps knowing that it was obviously evil Lyn in disguise.
I think it's time you tell us what you really want, Evil Lyn.
But it's fine, because you see, the Masters of the Universe has always been a setting of moral grey areas. It was never good versus evil. Oh no, Skeletor and Evil Lyn, etc. were simply just misunderstood, you see. And therefore, our heroes, Teela, Race Swap number 1, and Evil Lyn will team up together to save the universe. The rest of the show is about as contrived as you can probably imagine from that introduction. They go to Hell, where they find one half of the Power Sword, and then they go to Heaven, where they meet Race Swap number 2, King Grayskull. They watch him wrestle a pussy, and then smack the two halves of the sword together, recreating it, obviously, bringing Adam back to Eternia when he is immediately stabbed by Skeletor, who's also back to life now because writing is hard, as it turns out. The hallmark of any horrible story is when, at the end of it all, you find yourself right back at the beginning again. We could have been spared 5 24-minute episodes if Skeletor had simply just grabbed the Power Sword in the first episode and moved us on to Season 2. And I would not at all be surprised if this misbegotten abortion did actually get a second season, because whilst the fans, of course, hate it, as one would expect, everything considered, the usual professional shills adore it. Judging by Star Trek Discovery's history, we are in for a long haul of Masters of the Universe violations. I would not recommend watching this show under pretty much any circumstances, and especially if you're a fan of the Masters of the Universe setting. You do not deserve the pain that you will feel as you see Teela jump into a lava pit with a net underneath it and then dig her way into Snake Mountain, which, by the way, has been taken over by a techno cult, because it's no longer about magic, you see. Nor, obviously, is it about He-Man. It is a show about Teela, for Teela, by Teela. And if you were to remove every single other character beyond a handful of sacrificial male meat puppets, absolutely nothing would change. Again, if Skeletor had simply just won outright in episode 1, we could have moved on to what is presumably the actual story, as these 5 episodes provide us with absolutely nothing but a bunch of footage of Teela fapping about trying to be the hero, and, incidentally, failing miserably, getting He-Man killed a second time. Good God, I remember when the spicy conspiracy theories about He-Man was that he would die once in the first episode. No. He'll die twice, in the first and the last episode, to really cover all the bases. And there really is no stricter, more damning critique I could possibly level against this show than the fact that it was entirely pointless. I could go into the plot inconsistencies, I could talk about how Evil Lyn is suddenly part of the good guys and then decides, not to actually be part of the good guys at the very end. I could talk about how all of the other characters simply stand around and watch Skeletor take the Sword of Power. I could talk about how Teela is coddled throughout the entire bloody series, to the point that the sorcerers, upon being asked, well, why did you bring us here if we were gonna die anyway? Which is the dumbest thing, Teela. You were brought here to try and stop us all dying, honey. Calm down. And the sorcerer then says, I wanted to see you one last time. Because again, Teela is the main character now. But I don't need to get into any of that, because all you need to know is that the last episode ends the way the first episode did. Anything in between is pointless nonsense. And if there is a god in this horrible universe of ours, we won't be forced to sit through a second season of drivel. Until next time, I've been Arch. Thank you all very much for watching, and screw Netflix.